Hi everyone, it's Chris Gio from Merchant Method, and you are tuned in to a Merchant Method Trend Report. It's this combination of industry relevant news with signature experience-based training so that you can build a retail profit with ease. What I'm doing today is wrapping up our loss prevention series, and where I hope you join me is in this journey in connecting the dots between brand equity, top line revenue, and bottom line growth, and an often overlooked area of a business in which you can get really entrepreneurial in is your loss prevention approach, particularly to approaching and preventing operational errors, as well as really ensuring that your approaches to preventing external and internal loss are rooted in structure. So this trend report is called Loss Prevention that builds bottom line profit, top line revenue, and brand equity. Now, if you're just tuning in and haven't had a chance to listen to the entire series, keep listening and go back. When you do, you'll find that you're going to get a really great exposure to what a comprehensive loss prevention or LP program entails. You'll learn why theft happens and how to prevent it, as well as how to preserve profit by decreasing and preventing internal loss. So one of the things that I know to be true in the retail business and really stated so succinctly by Howard Schultz is that the challenge of the retail business is the human condition. And I feel as a merchant of over 18 years, no other words can be truer than this. The human condition is such a great way to talk about customers' wants, needs, and desires, our role as merchant leaders, our role in training and developing merchant employees, human condition, even with the exponential growth of retail online and the exponential use of technology. This technology is trying to mimic real, genuine, authentic human interaction. Now, one of the things that should not be a surprise in terms of the types of behaviors that we can address, the types of behaviors that lead to preventable loss, human error is one of them, because we are, after all, human. Mistakes happen, things get overlooked. We think we told someone something, but maybe we never did. Or we told someone a message and it was interpreted very differently. Also, human error. We ignore the things we know we need to address. Human error. We just cannot gain consistency and need some accountability. So when we think through what a comprehensive loss prevention program entails, addressing the humanity of any situation, particularly in how we work in the business day to day, is going to be a really important component for you to be able to preserve your profit, to make sure your bottom line is healthy. Stick with me to the end of this trend report, and I'm going to help connect the dots to increasing top line growth or increasing revenue, as well as building brand equity. Hopefully you know this by way of knowing the work that I put out through Merchant Method, or having listened to this trend report series, that loss prevention does not have to be policing, right? Does not have to be about coercing. It doesn't have to be about correcting. That if we can prevent, and if we can have clarity, and if we can have consistency, that is going to be our most powerful tool. And those tools that we use to create clarity and consistency, that we use to train and develop, and we use for awareness, those things in action, effective in loss prevention, are going to be those same things in action and effective in developing strong customer-employee bonds, strong customer care and customer service, as well as strong brand value and brand equity. So what I am not going to do is I'm not going to tell you exactly how to structure your operational standards and procedures. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do if you catch someone red-handed or catch someone overlooking the rules. What I am going to do is provide you with a gauge or different levels of awareness so you can start to evaluate your own standards. I'll provide you with examples in action so that you can spend some time really reflecting on the parts of your business where you can be entrepreneurial. And the reason why I say the parts of your business where you can be entrepreneurial is these areas that we overlook in terms of standards and procedures and loss prevention are screaming, please apply your entrepreneurial spirit and knowledge and talent to me. Please help clarify. Please add consistency. Please train on me. And we know that you are a really strong entrepreneur with really great traits, and giving you an awareness to apply that great skill set to this awesome opportunity. So typically when we think about operational error and loss, the types of activities that are error-based fall into one of three categories. Number one, the first of these categories is that there just is no procedure around it. There's no policy beyond level 101 training, or maybe even level 201 training, which is, here's how you ring up a sale. Here's how you receive inventory. Here's how you handle stock. And typically when it comes to inventory management and stock control, or cash wrap procedures and point of sale standards, it's in these areas where it will benefit not only you, your business, your team, your customers, your brand, to get very, very clear on what you expect, how you would like things to go, how you would like employees to behave, what kind of procedures need to take place for the health of your business, the safety of your business, and the safety of everyone else. Number two, when those standards exist, but employees aren't properly trained or they aren't held accountable. So what it might look like is if these operational practices were getting followed and following is a green light, the lights might change from green to yellow to red, back to green, back to red, back to yellow, and just flicker throughout the range of colors of compliance. And either because someone hasn't been held accountable or they haven't been fully trained. In the instance of someone not being fully trained, there's this fantastic opportunity for you to provide retraining. But in the instance that more accountability is needed, know that that's okay. We as people need a lot of accountability, not just as business leaders or employees, but in our day-to-day lives. Accountability, partnership, accountability processes are huge in making strides towards the behaviors that you want to achieve, or the goals, or the values, or the visions, or the ideas that you want to bring forward. Accountability is important, not only in long-range thinking and long-range activity, but also in these small day-to-day behaviors that add up to points of margin that you might be losing, or hundreds and thousands of dollars of profit that you've worked really hard for, but that are seeping out of your business day in and day out because someone isn't being held accountable or they aren't properly trained. The third level in which operational error occurs is when, number one, the standards exist and an employee or someone's been properly trained and there's accountability and they are straight up ignoring it, right? And maybe you can think of a person like that. What this allows you to do is use your investigative hat to understand why. You know, we don't know why until we know why. And for more of my thoughts on that, I really suggest that you listen to the episode, the trend report related to internal loss and investigative and thinking through, asking questions so you can get a fuller picture of what's happening versus interrogating and presuming the worst of the situations. So as we move through this hierarchy of buckets from totally undefined and, a thought of operational practices or some movements towards something more standard to very standard, very clear, very trained out, but still not compliant, we have a whole range of what could be any color from green to compliance and red to totally ignoring. And really, the nugget for you and what I hope you take away from this is to give yourself the opportunity to reflect and assess and see where you need more training and retraining. Maybe where you might need to train your managers by modeling the way for them and in turn teaching them how to model the way and train the rest of the team. That it gives you an opportunity to really apply your entrepreneurial business skills to areas of your business that might get overlooked. Now, I'm clear, loss prevention is not sexy. It's not fun. It's not thrilling. It isn't always soft and gentle and artistic and creative, but it doesn't mean that you can't apply all of the skills that make you so good and strong at what you do to this area of your business. One of the things that I find really valuable and a really valuable perspective around loss prevention that, loss prevention practitioners also agree with, and that those in the industry that are really familiar with loss prevention also know to be true for their businesses, is that really strong loss prevention is really strong brand behavior, is really strong customer care. So follow me on this journey really quickly. When you have really strong brand behavior and brand values, the qualities and characteristics of that are understanding what you have to offer, understanding what the need is. So having an awareness of your internal environment and your external environment. That is the same thing for loss prevention, having a strong awareness for what's happening internally in your business as well as externally in your business and how those two things interact. Same thing with strong customer care, having an awareness of what's happening internally with, for example, the product, techniques for selling, techniques for engaging, techniques for continuing the relationship after a customer's left, as well as an awareness of what's happening externally, and letting yourself work through the very situational moment that is an individual customer. And when we have a lot of great clarity around our expectations, a lot of great clarity and training around what those expectations, what those values, what those standards look like in action, what they sound like, maybe what they smell like if you burn candles or have flowers, what they look like, what they feel like, all of those things that you use to cultivate your brand value and cultivate your customer service are those same things used for loss prevention. So remember, as a recap, prevention is far easier to clarify, to train on, to create, to ensure accountability on than is policing a situation. Remember that it is a valuable skill set all around to put on your investigative hat, to ask questions in a Socratic style way, to be open to the feedback that's going to come to you, to engage in two-way conversations, whether it's brand, customer, or loss prevention, versus interrogating and presuming and chasing down conversations and feeling like you've brought a lot of negative emotions and conflicting emotions to a conversation. And when you can think through and take the best of your brand values and brand structure and brand equity and the best of your customer service vision statements and customer care approaches and see what can be cross-applied to your loss prevention. You will start to see how you can actually bring more awareness, not only to yourself, but to the rest of your team in a way that feels, number one, very appropriate in your language. Number two, very appropriate for the culture that you've taken a long time to cultivate. And number three, very customer centric. Because at the end of the day, if it is not there to sell to your customers, you've disappointed a customer and they didn't know it, but we might know it. So if you have not had a chance to listen to this entire series, I encourage you to. The reason why we're ending on this note is I wanted to give you a sense of how you can structure your store, re-merchandise your store, how you can engage with your employees in a much different way, so that when we started thinking through operational error and operational opportunity to prevent loss and to preserve profit, we were painting a larger picture of external factors and internal factors. I cannot wait to hear from you what your thoughts on are how you're applying brand, how you're applying customer care to your loss prevention program. And I would encourage you to focus on this concept of loss prevention and elevating prevention, elevating awareness, elevating education, elevating accountability for an entire quarter, because we know that developing a new habit takes 28 days, but we're doing far more than just developing a singular habit. We're developing a comprehensive approach to preventing loss, and that takes time. You'll also see the benefits over time. The type of benefits you're going to see are not only bottom line growth and top line revenue, but you're going to see employee morale increase with the appropriate level of awareness around loss prevention. You're going to see better engagement with customers in store. So all around, if you're feeling like there's an opportunity in your business, there's an opportunity for revenue, don't ignore this one critical, important piece of your business, because it's not glamorous. There are hidden gems for not only profit, but revenue and brand equity. Thank you so much. This is Chris Gear from Merchant Method, and I'll catch you next week.